Oh, do men argue with women?
Right, yeah, sure. Do they?
I'm gonna put men argue with women. How about that?
There are men who do. There are men who do argue with women.
Yeah, some of these bitch ass niggas do that. Oh wait, is that live already? God damn it! Isn't like the first 5 minutes you can't cuss?
Yeah, but I don't think you said anything that would be considered egregious.
I said BAN. You know,
some of these bands.
Yeah,
some of these bands.
Shout out Dion Cole. He coined the term the bands.
Yeah.
Or actually, he said his son. I forget if it was his son or his nephew coined the term.
Bands. The band.
He asked him if he cussed at school. He's like, yeah, Dad, I said the band. You know, the band word.
The band word.
He's like, well, what's that?
And then you told him,
what you ask me? You know what I'm saying? Kids are fucking. Oh, God.
Yeah. You just said the whole part. You just said the whole part.
Let me chill out, man. I haven't made my tea yet, nothing.
Go ahead, take your time, brother. Take your time waiting on people to come in.
Let me go ahead and be. Oh, damn. You know what? I didn't even finish my shit. I'm on here with the.
It's been a wild couple of days, brother. You know what I mean?
My week has been a little. My last 2 weeks have been a little unsettling.
Shifty and unsettling.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Let me. I don't even like giving away my secret on here because people be asking me. You know what? I went to Popeyes the other day, and I seen a douchebag in there. Something similar. It looked like he did it with a comb. I ain't seen nobody else with this hair. The way that I do my shit. So somebody done seen me or something.
Yeah, he's probably been watching the show, man. A lot of people, you know, for you guys who are out there watching the show right now, I know it ain't too many.
Cause tell me, I was over and he kept looking at me and I kept looking at him, so I know we didn't say that, you know, the internal conversation. I'm like, I know you seen my shit somewhere. I ain't never seen it. I've been doing this shit since 2015.
Yeah.
So you know just for a quick story, what's going on, Pops? Why I started doing my hair like this is because when I was in the military, and I can never remember his last name, but it started with an A, and he was a senior master sergeant, and I'm on my way to getting kicked out, divorcing my chick and all of that, whatever. I ain't tripping. I'm growing my hair out because I'm about to leave anyway, right? But I got it patted down as black people, you know, we got that magic card with our hair, so I got it patted down and all of that. And he's getting mad because apparently my hat is too small for my hair, in his mind.
Right.
AF 31-2903 did not say that, but in his mind, I gotta mess with this kid because we're already kicking him out. Let's F with him. So he gets the only other black sergeant who happened to be my supervisor, because that's how they felt they needed to manage me. Takes us in the hallway by the bathroom. And on the left, you know, the bathroom is right here, and then to the right of the bathroom, or left of the bathroom rather, that door is where you go outside, and they had a smoke pit where people smoke cigarettes and shit, right? So he's giving me the talk, you know, AF 31 dash, whatever, all of this stupid shit. I'm like, yeah, nigga, whatever. You know, I'm standing there quiet because I'm like, I'm already, you know, I don't need to add any more fuel to the fire. They had already marked me as a terrorist at that point, an actual terrorist. That's no bullshit. Right. So they had already marked me as a terrorist. And he's telling me, and I'm just standing there. I ain't said nothing. I'm looking at Sergeant Barry. That's the black dude. And shout out to Sergeant Barry if you're watching. And he goes, because I'm just listening, shaking my head yes and no. Because we're not in training. I don't have to yes sir, no sir you. And
at that point,
yeah, he's middle aged. So he's at least like between 38 and 45. I'm 24. No, I'm 23. And he goes, Aaron Chapman, it seems like you're a little hard of understanding. Why haven't you said anything? You not understanding what I'm saying? You got a problem?
Because you were quiet.
Do you want to take this off the record? And I looked at Sergeant Barry. And Sergeant Barry looked at me. I said, sir, you don't want to take this off the record. We can go outside to the smoke pit.
So explain what the smoke pit is.
The smoke pit is just where people smoke cigarettes.
Okay.
It's outside.
Okay.
You get your free, in the military, you can damn near take a break at any time. You can take as many breaks throughout the day as you want until somebody tells you.
So going to the smoke pit means we can fight.
Well, he said take it off the record.
Okay. So take it off the record means
we can fight. Yeah, little wall-to-wall counseling is what they call it in the military.
Okay.
wall-to-wall counseling.
Right.
Nigga, you don't want to take it off the record.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, oh. I said, no worries, I'll get the hat. Because I would have fucked that white dude up. And that led to a whole nother admonishment and shit that I got, but...
Because they considered you insubordinate.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started fucking with my hair. I said, okay. Because your hair can't be fattish, is the terminology in the UCM, or in the UCMJ. Hair can't be fattish. So I said, okay. Nothing fattish about me, just...
Right. My natural hair.
Yep. So that's why I started fucking with them. They couldn't say nothing. So that's why, if I know people be looking, and a few people that sent me messages like, man, what the fuck, what did you do to your hair? How'd you do that? You know what I mean? So it's a little bit different every time because it's just how I feel. It's the energy I put into it. So that was why I started doing this wild ass shit, because I wanted to fuck with white people in the military. And what a grand time it was.
All right, guys. Welcome to another episode of CMCT. Change your mind, change your thinking. We are doing an alternate show tonight. This is not our normal format. As you know, we didn't have a Tuesday night show.
So we're freestyling.
Yeah, so we're freestyling tonight. We're talking to Ish, shooting the Ish, and basically we still are going to be talking about pertinent things and things of interest. But tonight we're freestyling. As you can see, a lot of our listeners and our normal viewers and followers are not in as they normally would be, but we still going to keep it moving because some of them going to find out in the next 5 minutes.
They'll find us.
Yep, and we'll jump in as we're moving forward. So, again, I am your host, Troy Skinner. Next to me is my co-host.
You know, Antonio Dean.
You're gonna always keep y'all waiting for that. Once we get back into our location after all of the renovations, we will have the pad, and I'm gonna have a drum roll, so that way it can add some dramatic work to what he's got going on when he introduces himself. All right, guys. So hopefully you had a great week. There hasn't been too much going on other than a lot of Donald Trump garbage that I really have no desire to even engage or talk about.
That's up to you. I have my opinion on Donald Trump.
I have no opinion. This is the one time that
I have my opinion on Donald Trump's presence.
Okay. With
the rest of the world.
Okay.
And that is that money flows.
Yes, sir.
Money fucking flows.
Yes, it does.
One of the best two investment years I've ever had. One of the best.
Yeah.
And anybody who's an avid investor.
You did talk to me about that before, yeah.
Anyone who's an avid investor would agree.
Yeah. So we will be talking about money, but not on that end. We still have a show that we're planning on doing down the road where we have some guests that we'll be inviting in to educate you guys and uplift you and motivate you and
they're great black men.
Yeah, in regards to...
Don't get it twisted. They're great black men.
Well, you have to be in order to be able to get to a certain level in this world. Right? That's what I believe. So we will be talking, we will be having an interview and conversation on that. So hopefully you're with us at that time. Tonight's conversation in regards to what we're talking about is holding some of y'all accountable. In fact, you know what? We should do a repeat of this on Tuesday.
Sure.
I think
to fully follow up on the subject? Yeah,
absolutely. I have a strong feeling we're going to spend more time on the other topic.
Which one? Shit. The main one?
About arguing.
Yeah.
Tonight. Because that's like a 20-parter.
Bit of a sore spot. Bit of a sore spot at the moment.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it.
Okay, so first off, we want to give a big shout out. I'm not sure if she's watching right now, but if you're watching right now, Claudia, I'm going to do it here too so y'all can see.
Yeah, we might as well share that because she hooked us up for real.
Claudia. We have a day one next to Lady Muse and next to Joan Moulton, who is always looking out for us in some capacity. And on one of the previous shows, I mentioned my affinity for Pamela Greer. Yeah, man.
The one who whooped Drew Down's ass?
Yeah, you don't remember you can just hit the photo.
Oh, I do have a photo. I didn't even download it in there.
It's all good.
Hold on. Let me get
they seeing it now, but they're like, oh yeah. Even my mom, she saw that. She said, "This is
it's a bad picture."
Yo,
she hooked it up.
Yo, at the Image Max Studios, this will be on the wall.
Yeah, she captured it very well.
Yes.
Let me hook that up real quick.
Yes. Question is do we want to put it in the studio or do we just want to put it in somewhere in the spot?
Wow, good question.
Yeah, right.
Maybe in the lobby.
The lobby.
Maybe in the lobby.
Because people got to see it.
Everybody got to see that. I mean,
Yeah.
she did beautiful work. In my opinion.
So Claudia, if you're not watching right now, but you do get to see this show, because I know you do watch some of our shows after the fact, this is awesome.
We're sending you many thanks.
Many, many thanks, and especially for the other stuff that you sent as well too. Greatly appreciative of it.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yeah, she sends great gifts, man, and I'm greatly appreciative of that. So for you guys who are interested,
that's the picture that she did.
Yeah, that's man. Yeah,
she looked that up.
Yeah, this is something that she does. This is one of her jobs that she does. She makes this stuff. She sent me a hard drive of a whole bunch of different ones too. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet because I'm going through the process of helping an actor for something. But we will send her link for anybody that's interested.
Does she
in
have
this
a web
type of
store?
work. She has her normal, the Claudia Jean. We will send her link so you guys, if you're interested in this type of work or this type of artwork. And I'm gonna tell you some of the best gifts I've ever been given, not just being personal, that the person gave the thought into the gift, but it's usually artwork. You know, I'm not really big on art, but when someone does artwork, like stuff like that, it's always so awesome to receive it. Next to this was I got from Austin Uku, one of my friends who sometimes watches the show. He gave me one on Prince. It's on my wall right now. Yeah, you know. So anyway, Claudia, thank you so much for being a great supporter of our show, for being a wonderful person, and for sending this. This was a great gift, and we really appreciate you. And yeah, we're gonna find a way to return the favor eventually, and you know what we got going on. So this is awesome. Thank you so much.
Good graces and reciprocal energy.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to talk about the? What do you want to talk about first? Like I said, I think the other thing we're gonna really talk. So, all right. So guys, listen. Never know how many of you out here. Thanks for everybody who is tuning in. You know, we got a little late start, and you didn't know we were on tonight because when our Tuesday is off, Thursday everyone's like, "Where you guys at? What's going on?"
We kind of freestyle on Thursday. Thursdays are not canon.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Thursdays are not canon.
But some of our best shows have been Thursday.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you've had me laughing from tooth to nail on some of these shows.
Finish, baby.
Some of these shows.
All we can do.
Okay.
I'm ready to go with wherever.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and talk about this. Let me get back to here real quick, and then talk about this situation here. All right. Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
I get to read.
Yeah.
I'm done steeping my tea, so there's no time like the present.
Yep. All right, guys. So wait for that.
Welcome in.
Tonight we are talking about the importance of a will, of leaving something, generational wealth, leaving something behind for your family. Especially if you're someone who has something. How many of you out there don't have a will? How many of you out there don't have last testaments and instructions?
Final will or living will?
Or a living will, yeah, living trust or living will, or final will, an estate, if you have an estate.
You need something that says the state or the government can't just have your shit when you die.
Mm-hmm. Because they will come in and collect as much as they possibly can, if not all of it.
And there's a time limit on it too.
So we're going to stay on this for a little bit because just from what is being said in the article, which, you know, I don't think they're over exaggerating, unfortunately. It's just like when people pass away, man, and you see GoFundMe's. You know, the average burial for anyone that wants to do a body burial at a mortuary or a funeral home, the minimum is $10,000. Minimum. That's where it starts. If you want a casket, you want a viewing of the body, you want them to be buried somewhere, the minimum is $10,000. for that. If you're doing like, someone's being cremated and you're doing a basic memorial service, that starts at about 4K minimum. Okay, unless you're just going to get that and do a balloon service, balloon release or something. But most funerals, at the minimum when it comes to cremation and just the memorial service, is 4K minimum, starting at 4K.
And that's not including when you guys do your repast and cooking food and having everybody over and all that. You know, we're talking a lot of money.
Yeah, gas back and forth
into death.
Yeah, yeah. So why is that important? Because unfortunately, as a community, specifically Black people, because we're really bad at that, we don't handle our affairs while we're alive.
No, we don't. Mostly,
I think a lot of people are fearful of death, of course, and they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to do anything about it.
Well, it's taboo, you know.
Because if you talk about it, it becomes reality.
You know, Black people are a little bit too superstitious.
Right.
We can be. You know. And I don't know if that is where that stems from entirely, but I know, and this is me figuring it out right now in my head, I know that when we started creating these different contracts with these invaders and colonizers, hating ass, you know, white people, it is what it is, the French, the Dutchmen, and so forth, you know, they conned us out of a lot of things, man. The treaties,
land
treaties. Right? We didn't understand the language of the law, and there's something that a lot of us, the average person in the United States, doesn't understand, and that is that there's something called legalese. There's a reason why you have the right to remain silent. You have the right to legal counsel, because under that jurisdiction of law, or under the jurisdiction of law, you're more than likely going to be out of your depth. And what it is that they're speaking of, out of your depth concerning the entire ceremonious act in general, because it is a ceremony. Every courtroom is a place of ceremony. And when you're not privy to the ceremony, you make yourself look like a fool.
Ill-equipped.
You play the fool.
Right? Yeah, of course.
You know, you will peril, or you will perish. My people perish for lack of knowledge. And that applies to so many different things, and I believe that starts in the courtroom. We don't understand that jurisdiction. We don't understand those circumstances. You have to understand there are legal dictionaries, and then there's the regular dictionary. So you want to get on the internet, go to archive.org, or archives or archive.org, just Google it. Or you can reach out to me, because I've got a lot of legal documentation that I can send. But you want to look at, because remember, there's been a few shows where I said the oldest version of a law written is still admissible in court.
That's right.
Unless it's been amended.
That's right.
Okay? Get Black's Law Dictionary number 1, Black's Law Dictionary number 2. Some people still swear by numbers 3 through 5, but the oldest definition will be most helpful to you. Okay? Because you want it to be as raw and close to the origin as possible. So, Black's Law Dictionary number 1, Black's Law Dictionary number 2. You can find PDF versions of these dictionaries for free, because these are $200 and $300 books, and some people are reselling them for close to the thousands. All right, so let's not get it twisted. That shows you the value therein, not just because it's an old text.
Right.
Okay, and I have copies of those. I can send it to anybody who inquires, or anyone who inquires. So, legalese versus the regular dictionary. Now, in addition to that, you also have access to Google.
It's your friend.
I know I keep saying this.
Google's your friend.
But it's because it's the fucking truth. You have access to Google, nigga. Get your ass on Google, look up the legal definition of a word, and look up the normal definition of a word. Just go look up the definition of person in Merriam-Webster's dictionary, and then go look up the definition of person in the legal dictionary. And you'll begin to see these words that we think we understand what they're saying. You know, a lot of us are very astute. We read these contracts that we're signing. Some of us read the terms of service, for credit cards, and some of us for video games, and a lot of these applications and shit that we're downloading to our phones. However, do you know what the legal definition of those words are? Because that's what they are. That's why they're terms. Go look up the legal definition of a term. I don't have all night to spend talking to y'all about that, but I'm giving you, I'm planting the seed. You have to go see the differences. It's imperative. It's paramount that you do this as black people because we're locked out of this world.
Yeah.
We don't understand any of our rights. Yeah. We all go to school. We learn about the Constitution.
Or what they want us to know.
What they want us to know. Their curriculum, but we don't really delve deep into it, and we need to. And that begins, to me, it begins with understanding the legal definition of words, because it's a whole other language. They're saying and using all of the same words, but they mean something different.
Right.
And that will crumble you. In court. That crumbles you when you're negotiating and dealing with contracts. All right? So, Black's Law Dictionary number 1, Black's Law Dictionary number 2, but overall, Google, nigga, because you got access to it. All right? Moving on.
And guys, mind you, for the people that we speak about in these articles, I know a lot of people love Chadwick Boseman like he's a family member, but we're not speaking on him in regards to the lesson that's being learned by him and other actors who have, people use actors because primarily a lot of people know them.
They're the most relatable reference.
Absolutely. Right.
So,
2 of us just got elected officials, just got expelled in Tennessee. All right. Can you elaborate more on that, Sage? It's my boy Sage.
So, while he's doing that, if you're on YouTube, you'll see the article. We are in a state of emergency. More than 70% of black Americans don't have a will. Here's why a plan is key. When actor Chadwick Boseman died, he didn't have a will. Neither did recording artist Prince and Aretha Franklin. Each time the news broke, there was surprise that such notable names hadn't made estate plans. Yet, estate planning isn't as common as experts argue it should be, particularly among black Americans. Overall, 33% of U.S. adults have a will, according to Caring.com's 2021 Wills and Estates Planning Survey. Meanwhile, 27.5% of black Americans have one, up from 25.9% in 2020, the COVID era. So some people learned a little bit. That's okay. The result in that black Americans are missing out on the largest wealth transfer in history, said Brixton Diamond, co-founder of Black House Foundation, a nonprofit aimed at creating new opportunities for the black community and the film world. Over the next 25 years, an estimated $68 trillion will be transferred from U.S. households to heirs and charity, according to an analysis of high net worth and ultra high net worth markets by consulting group Cerulli Associates. Without a plan in place, probate costs could be 3% to 8% of the value of an estate, said Diamond, a board member of Gentrio, an online estate planning platform.
Real quick. So listen, if you don't know anything about probate, basically probate is what you do not want in regards to your estate. And that's usually because people are contesting who's involved in regards to what and who receives what. So 3 to 8%. So this is what you gotta understand about
the government. It's not just cut and dry.
No, it's not.
Even when you're married to somebody, it's not just cut and dry.
Right. That's what people have to understand. That's what people don't realize about same-sex marriage. It wasn't even about that love is love bullcrap. It was really about
asset protection.
If I spend 20 years with somebody and at the end of it, I don't have a decision on what to say about that person's value and what they had.
Right.
So that's kind of what they wanted. And 2 men together, that money coming in.
I'm saying. You know what I mean?
So
I can't relate.
3 to 8% of the value of an estate. 3 to 8%. That's a lot.
Yes, it is.
And then if it's in probate, because I think with one of the celebrities, their probate lasted almost 10 years for one of them.
That's another form of tax, but
So Sage said Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, two brothers, elected officials, just got kicked out of their seats because of exercising their First Amendment. Wow. Protesting gun laws on the Tennessee House floor. Republicans kicked them out. And then he says living wills. Wow. Okay. So we're going to get on that, Sage, because that's something that if it's just happening, you know, we'll see if we can get to that before the end of the show.
Was that Gentry platform? I'll reread that. Without a plan in place, probate costs could be 3% to 8% of the value of an estate, said Diamond, a board member of Gentrio, an online estate planning platform. There is also a lack of clarity around a loved one's wishes and potential discord that may cause, There's also a lack of clarity around a loved one's wishes and potential discord that may cause among family members. Yeah, that was a bad typo. Then there is property that may have been in the family for a generation or more. So many families, and look at there, because they're talking about black people right now, for a generation.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story in a second.
Not generations. You're talking about white people, we just gonna say generations. You know, I know a lot of people don't catch this, but listen to what these motherfuckers are saying.
Old money.
We don't have old money. Most of us don't.
Right.
Anyway, then there's property that may have been in the family for a generation or more. So many families lose their family access and ownership of land, he said. So if you haven't prepared to pay the taxes and get the mortgage covered, the home will at best fall into disrepair and at worst fall out of the hands of the family, and that means it goes into control of the state. So many families lose their family access and ownership of land, he said. I won't say what my family's name is on my father's side. 375 acres in Mississippi that we don't have control over. Only 2 people, my father's elders, have the knowledge, the paperwork to understand who even to go and contest this with. And soon we're going to lose it because no one in the family is willing to share information. I've been putting feelers out for the last year and a half because we had a virtual family reunion. You know, I didn't get nobody to talk about it. Hey,
I met a young man today in the gym.
Oh, and really quick, my bad. They're gonna build a highway through our shit.
Wow, so that's the whole thing.
That's why it came up.
Yeah, of course. So
the land just sitting there, niggas ain't doing nothing with it.
Right.
You know, it's paid off, everything.
So this young man that I spoke with today, he has his family owns property, and he was talking about they're going through that right now. So I took about 20 minutes to talk with him about the importance of that, passing it down. I said he said my grandfather left it from my dad, and I said, well, that's your land.
Yeah.
I said, I can guarantee you, you're a second, aren't you? He said, yeah. How'd you know? And I said, because your grandfather's decisions, his actions, tells me the actions of your granddad, the fact that he left y'all land, acres, tells me what kind of family you're from, what kind of stock you're from. That's your land. So you better get equipped in it now. He's like, brother, thank you. Like he just is like, no one's ever said anything.
Nobody's telling us this shit.
I told him, I said, I'm proud of your granddad.
All of those treaties and shit that I was talking about, the agreements, the sharecropping, all of that bullshit, these different contracts that were written, they were all designed to move us out over time and through generations because we already didn't know, and it gave them less resistance from us in the moment because we're like, oh, okay, this seems like an okay deal.
Yeah, it's better than what it was before.
Yeah, I can do something with this. And they did the same shit to the Native Americans. With the Native Americans, the 5 civilized tribes. We got to do an episode on that because we really don't have time to talk about that tonight. But, you know, the 5 civilized tribes, man, they all sold out. And that's the only reason why they're the main ones who are recognized today legally in the United States. You know, so anyway, I could talk for hours about how they fucked us over. So many families lose their family access and ownership of land, he said. So if you haven't prepared to pay the taxes and get the mortgage covered, the home will at best fall into disrepair and at worst fall out of the hands of the family. The economic cost is just too great to do nothing. To be sure, Black Americans' median wealth is less than 15% of white families in the U.S., according to the Federal Reserve's 2019 Survey of Consumer Finances. White families had a median wealth of $188,200 compared to $24,100 for black families. The median black household wealth was forecast to hit zero by 2053 in a 2017 report by Prosperity Now and Institute for Policy Studies. Then the pandemic hit, disproportionately affecting the black community and accelerating that timeline, said Portia Wood, a Los Angeles-based estate attorney who focuses on black, Latino, and LGBTQ families. We are in a state of emergency now, she said. It is not a 2053 number anymore. It is here. So I want to speak to that a little bit. As you know, I work with as many children as I can because the knowledge that I don't necessarily have the full time to express to you guys in these 2 hours throughout the week, I got more than enough time off the camera to educate these young men and women about things that their parents haven't even considered because no one ever took the time to tell them anything, right? A lot of these kids are being homeschooled, and that's a nice thing, sort of. But the issue is that then they get the attitude of, well, I don't need to go to school at all. I don't need to go to a classroom. What does that do for me? That's number one. Number two, they're being homeschooled by parents that don't even understand the curriculum themselves.
Right, they don't know anything.
They don't know anything. These kids go home, you know, at least when I was a kid, you know, my parents, I could go home and ask for help with my homework. Everything wasn't all that confusing until I ended up doing advanced classes and shit. But the basics, reading, writing, arithmetic, their parents don't understand these things. These kids are failing. Our kids. I'm talking about the black community. You know, I'm sure that there are some white kids and whoever else, but, you know, in the ethnic communities, we're failing at one of the most enormous rates in history right now. These kids can't read at the ages of 14, 15, 16, 17. Cannot read. They can barely write because they got their phones and tablets and, you know, all of this shit.
Doing all the work for them, yeah.
So if you don't understand how that correlates to what I just read, this is a part of the reason why our wealth is diminishing.
Of course.
Our wealth is diminishing.
Not only can you can't accumulate it, you can't keep it because you don't know what you do.
You can't go and start it.
That's right.
You can't build a foundation for it because you can't read. You can't write. You don't have quantitative skills. It doesn't exist for you. Your parents aren't pressuring you about bringing home an F.
Let alone, a lot of them are not even knowing what it is to go out and have a job.
Man.
You know? They don't know
contribute into society, contribute into the community. You know, that was something.
Question to you and to everybody else: are summer jobs still around?
Wow, I don't even think so.
Because that's something that I've been wondering because, you know, that was for several years of my teenage life. I had summer jobs. Right. I mean, I worked outside of the summer job as well.
I worked with my dad, but I had friends who had summer jobs. Yeah. You know, I'll tell you this, and this is close in family. You know, some of my little cousins and nieces and nephews, where I'm mentoring them and giving them the example. You know my status in life and all of that shit, and I'm doing my best to push it on them. You need to start working now. Yeah, of course. Start accumulating money, save it. 12 before you're 18.
Yeah, of course.
It took them
saying that
until
because
1920 to get their first job.
Yeah, and I'm saying that because the next paragraph is going to get to that.
And then also about kids not even wanting to get licenses these days. They don't want to drive. They'll just deal with Uber and Lyft and all that. That shit is taking money out of your pocket. It costs so much more to pay Uber and Lyft than it does to drive your own vehicle. Absolutely. Over time, it does.
Yeah, of course. They don't realize that in the beginning. They just think it makes it easier.
Yeah, but anyway. Let Muse says, for my family, yes. Unless they're loser parents, let them do whatever they want to do during the summer. And you know, her family has a pretty good community mindset, you know, with their resources and their wealth and their reach and their network.
So she's saying that summer jobs are still around because that used
At
to
least
be,
for her family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Because they got their network that they're all working together.
No, when I was coming up, summer jobs was something that was offered by the
actual job, because they're almost like internships.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like internships.
Yeah.
You know. But hey, what can you do? Let's see. I'll read that last sentence one more time.
What's up, Yuzzy?
Oh, what's going on, bro? We are in a state of emergency now, she said. It is not a 2053 number anymore. It is here. So now we're getting started. Everyone over the age of 18 should make a plan, Wood said. I think everyone over the age of 15 should be planning, looking at. I was 13 and 14, like, man, I understand how fast time is moving. How quickly things were shifting, in our family life. It was what it was. I knew that I had to be thinking of something. And I didn't even have access to the internet.
No, at that time, didn't. Yeah.
Well, no, I ain't that old.
Yeah. No, but still,
there was internet, but we didn't have it.
Right, of course.
My mom had a laptop, but we couldn't fuck with it.
That's what I mean by that.
You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't very accessible, especially even to the black communities. That wasn't. At
school, well, again, even back then, kids had iPod touches, they had cell phones, and all of this silly shit. But what were they using it for?
Right. It wasn't.
It was entertainment.
Yeah, the internet still is kind of current.
I think it's crippling.
It's something that's.
It's in its infancy.
Yeah.
It's still in its infancy.
Because cats that were internet probably around your time, it was MySpace and stuff like that.
Correct.
It's still for entertainment. It had nothing to do with the sense of knowledge.
They didn't understand brand building.
That's recent. That's very recent, especially for black people. And I always say that because, when I was a personal trainer, the stuff that these guys are getting away with now, if I had that back then,
absolutely. They're hurting people online today.
Yeah.
That's why I say it's damning, unfortunately. But I'll restart that. Everyone over the age of 18 should make a plan, Wood said. The misconception that age is a factor, that you're supposed to be old to do estate planning, or you're supposed to be wealthy to do estate planning is just wrong, she said. She suggests finding a culturally competent attorney to help you, one that understands the specific issues black Americans face. If you don't understand culturally competent attorney, she said, nigga, get somebody that looks like you, that understands you, that can relate to you, that can empathize with your plight. Yep. You need to get somebody who understands what you're going through.
Yeah, because what happened, and for you guys who are just joining us, at the top of the show, the very opening of the show, we talked about having things for when you pass away. You can be 15 to 18 and have things that your family will argue over when you pass away.
Yeah.
That PlayStation you spend all that money on, your little car outside, the clothes that you spent money on, your family will fight over that. If you got several brothers or cousins or sisters who are close to you, say for instance,
CD collection.
Yeah, absolutely. Say for instance, you got a cousin that you're closer to, but look, my brother, when he died, he had an extensive Prince collection. That went with me. You know what I mean? Like, because who else is going to appreciate it like me?
Yeah.
And so my thing is that what I'm saying is if you're young, you may feel like you don't have anything because that's what we're always taught.
I want to say something to that, to kind of bring it full circle. You said a Prince collection, I said a CD collection, and it seems like these are things that are trivial, but think about the market that's out there for things that are antiques, things that are vintage, because people took care of them and held on to them for years. If it meant something to you, someday it will be of value to others.
That's right.
And maybe not your immediate family, maybe not your grandchildren or, great nieces and nephews. 2 or 3 generations later, we're talking about something that could potentially mean wealth.
Yeah.
That could be life-changing for the people, your descendants, the people that come from you. So yeah, it's as simple as a CD collection right now, but 50 or so years, we're looking at these white people wondering, what it is that's going on with them. How are they able to, somebody's buying $1 million Wu-Tang album and different shit like that. And we're laughing at them, but they're creating wealth. It seems so trivial, but really it is important. we got a comment from Ashanti F. She says, 18 is too late. People are dying younger and faster, especially the people that look like us.
Very good comment, Ashanti. Yeah,
it's the truth. But I wanted you guys to understand that it seems trivial, but it's the truth. Think of what you're missing out on. You know? Continuing, where was I at?
She suggests
finding a culturally competent attorney to help you, one that understands the specific issues Black Americans face. Think about all them records, you know, your grandma and even your moms and dads and great aunts and uncles, all them record collections they got. We're talking, that's money.
Yes, yeah.
I got a Stevie Wonder in the closet right now, you know what I'm saying? There are also online resources which may be able to help with basic situations. What you'll need outside of a will. Here's a sampling of some documents you'll need apart from a last will and testament.
So, last will and testament doesn't handle all the stuff.
Nope.
It's pretty much what they're saying.
Durable power of attorney. This document lays out who can make financial decisions for you in the event that you are incapacitated. Healthcare power of attorney. This designates someone to handle your medical decisions if you become sick and can't make them for yourself. A living will. Also called an advance directive. A living will is a document that expresses your wishes for medical treatments you would or would not want to use to keep you alive, like resuscitation and intubation.
Yeah, so there are three different classifications. The durable power of attorney, sometimes if you have that, it can override the healthcare power of attorney, but not necessarily. Depends on your state, depends on the circumstance, because if you look at it, it says one who can make financial decisions for you in the event that you are incapacitated. What does that mean? Incapacitated is not always a thing of medical.
Nope.
Incapacitated could mean you're in prison. Incapacitated could mean mentally you're a vegetable. It's different than sick. Sick and vegetable is two different things.
Yep.
Sick can be, okay, you know, I was out, I'm in a coma, you know, I need someone to make a decision. It's different. If they know you're coming out of a coma, if the coma is induced, compared to if you got hit and they don't know when you're coming out of a coma. So that's what makes the difference. And the living will, which is something that everybody should have. I have that. My mom has that. In regards to medical treatments, you would or would not want to use to keep you alive, like resuscitation, intubation. Some people
being on life support.
Yeah, and don't want to be on life support.
Whether or not to pull the plug.
If their heart stops, they don't want you to restart their heart.
Yeah. So
these are, for some people, very horrible and touchy things, but they need to be spoken about.
Yes, they do.
Because when you leave, depending on how you leave, you can leave somebody in dire straits, or you can leave them to be able to have the space in the room to grieve.
So I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to touch on the reality. Death is a huge business. If you don't know that, welcome to the show. Death is a huge business, okay? Life insurance, one of the most lucrative businesses on the planet. A lot of these white people, maybe they didn't do shit their whole life. Maybe they just worked a 9 to 5 and, you know, lived the American dream of being lower middle class.
But they had a fat-ass life insurance.
Fat-ass life insurance policy, plain and simple. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't understand how valuable that can be, we're talking about a lot of us are spending nearly thousands of dollars in fast food, snacks and shit every month. Every month. Wasting away our money on bullshit. Your life insurance policy for $1 million plus could easily be as low as $30 to $40 a month, depending on what company you go with. You know how you bargain and shop between companies, because they will compete with one another. They're very competitive. $1 million, you know, which isn't much, but it is in comparison to you dying and not having a plan, and now your family has to figure out how to pay for your funeral.
Yeah, GoFundMe.
GoFundMes.
That's the answer.
You know what I'm saying? $1 million, oh, $16,000 funeral, whatever. And then also here's the rest of this person's assets because they handled their business. You know, multi-million-dollar life insurance policies out there that cost a lot less than fast food, bullshit, clubbing, and partying, and all of this shit. Costs so much less, especially if you have children, if you got family you care about, whoever it is that's going to be looking after those that you do leave behind. It's important to understand that. And understand this too. You can take out life insurance policies on others. If you have a household, everybody should have life insurance policies on one another.
Or at the minimum and at the least, burial insurance.
At the very least, burial insurance so that you do not impede upon your family's financial security when you pass.
It is a burden. It is a burden.
Huge burden.
Yeah.
And I've seen it. You know, luckily, my elders kind of had that under control. I don't think there was any of them we had to help situate, you know, the arrangements after they passed, maybe two. But everyone else, they understood. They all had their plots bought decades ago.
And be careful who you name, you know, in regards to that, because who you name, you may feel like you have love for that person, but they may end up turning around and screwing you and everyone else because they may not be great at what they need to do.
You need to pick the most fair person that you know, understand whether or not they're actually responsible. Okay? Lady Muse says, when my uncles were running the streets, my grandpa got life insurance policies on all of them. It was a very responsible decision. Because, guess what? They got nieces they got, you know,
family,
they got
kids
and little cousins.
They're not thinking, that's something that somebody said, that it seems like black people will play like they care, but through their actions, they're showing that they don't.
And that begins with, you didn't even educate yourself on what all of your options were. Regardless of what kind of life you're living, you didn't educate yourself on all of the options that you are afforded. Because this is a free country for the most part. You know, people really downplay the opportunities and options that we have here, and no one's telling us, but at some point you have to take the responsibility upon yourself and say, well, what is it that I do have access to? Especially now, you know, since racism doesn't exist, everybody, since there's no longer slavery, since we're not being marginalized and, you know, all of this bullshit, why haven't you asked yourself, well, what is it that they were keeping away from me all these years, or keeping me away from all these years?
Generational wealth.
Huh? What is it why is it that they stifled us? So that we couldn't get access to what?
And so that we've gotten to a point now where they don't even want to hear about it.
Yeah.
You're not going to make me feel bad about this money I got off your ancestors.
Yeah.
I had nothing to do with it.
AKA critical race theory. You know? Now,
you're not going to shame me for being rich and you're poor because your ancestors gave my ancestors that money.
And they didn't give it to them, but you know.
That's their thought.
Yeah, no, of course.
You know, it wasn't me out there cracking that whip. It wasn't me out there taking from them. I mean, I apologize.
Sure they do.
I'm sorry you broke.
Yeah.
Black man.
Your life sucks and your kids, you know, killing each other, whatever.
I'm so sorry.
You know, so.
But there's opportunity for you. Why don't you go and? I mean, I have mine. Why don't you get?
And to an extent, and it pains me to say it, but they're a little bit right. It's been a long fucking time. It's been a long fucking time.
They just had a.
And now they got us in a place where niggas don't even want to read. When my grandmother passed a couple years ago, I had my nieces and nephews. Well, they're my little cousins, but they're young enough. They're my nieces and nephews, right? I got them, and I'm listening to them talk about whatever bullshit is going on. They're talking about adult celebrities, and what all their affairs and shit are. Nigga, read a page out of this book.
Right.
And it was a book by some woman, but it was about Harriet Tubman, who, you know, whatever, the story's fake, but can you read this? Do you understand what they're saying in this book about a motherfucker getting knocked over the head because they learned how to spell their name, and you don't want to read? Your ancestors died.
You're disconnected from the sacrifice.
Died.
Disconnected from what it takes in order to be free. And I mentioned this, I think you heard me say this last night. The average person here in America, they have no idea that the fact that they have a lot of convenience, they're not willing to fight for freedom. Like if you see in France right now, France is in total upheaval. And they're so used to constantly protesting. Their protests are always very violent. Very violent. And how they would look at black people and say, well, black people, y'all gonna loot, they doing that right now in Paris, man.
Yeah.
In France. I mean, they were busting windows on stores.
Yep.
I ain't see no black people in that crowd.
Nope.
They were cheering each other and they were all French. So, you know, it's a thing of understanding that freedom is something that you don't recognize because you haven't had it taken from you.
Not, at least not in your lifetime.
Of course not. Not even in their parents' lifetime.
But we have been happily giving it away. Happily ignoring it. Happily neglecting it.
Yeah.
Discounting it.
Yeah.
You know. Soapbox, you know, we can talk to you all night about this shit. Where's that?
Distribution of assets.
Distribution of assets. A last will and testament spells out who you want to give your assets to after you die. It also allows you to name a guardian for any minor children you may have. What's more, people should consider revisiting the plan as life circumstances change. Wills are ever changing.
Yep. I just
updated
mine.
Will.
I just updated mine.
All right. There's nothing you can write that's all encompassing. You have to keep updating it. If you are doing what you're supposed to be doing in life, and things are changing, things are advancing.
Doesn't matter. Listen, and this is what you gotta understand, because your value increases and decreases as life goes on. And so your assets, sometimes it takes a long time for that to decrease or increase.
Absolutely.
So, prime example, my will, my initial will, had my brother in it. He passed away. Now, it always says if that person passes away, you bequeath to this person.
Correct.
But I decided to go in and just reorganize it completely. And that makes a huge difference. So, you're right, it is consistent. It changes, ever changing. People you fall out with, new people that come into your life that you put in there because you're like, wow, this is somebody that I want to leave.
Yeah, you don't want to leave someone that you really care about out of you know, your dying testament. You know,
and it is very hurtful for people to receive that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's more, people should consider revisiting the plan as life circumstances change. Just don't think of it as one and done, Diamond said. It's continuous, he said. It evolves as your assets evolves as your family evolves. Then there are trusts, which hold assets on behalf of your beneficiaries instead of those assets going directly to them. Diamond recommends trusts for those with higher asset levels and or a complicated financial situation. Now, I want to say this. I think trusts are for everyone. I don't give a fuck if all you got is a can of soda. You need to have a trust. There are no bounds to a trust.
That's right.
No bounds. 100% up to you. A trust supersedes a marriage. Understand that. So all you people who are afraid of whether or not you, and I don't understand why gay people didn't just do this, but maybe they didn't know, whatever, you know, and you don't need a lawyer to create a trust. You just need a pen and paper. All right? Pen and paper and a witness.
Well, they were offered that. They didn't want that. They wanted, you know.
This is more powerful than fuck yo.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
But everyone needs a trust.
Mm-hmm.
And there are many different types. You can define your own type.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So if you don't know, get on this internet the same internet, y'all Google
what's going
Black
on?
China, because she done took, she's showering now and all of this shit. The Beyonce tickets, nigga, the
Jay-Z.
the new shoes.
You know how many dudes I see quoting Jay-Z throughout the day?
Come on.
Can you imagine if he stood up and like, y'all niggas need to get some life insurance. Y'all need to make sure y'all got burial. All y'all out there killing each other. Make sure your mama ain't got to do no GoFundMe. You know what I'm saying? No, he doesn't. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. But y'all uplift him as a voice of your generation. Kanye ain't never said nothing like that. Y'all uplift him as a voice of your generation. It's very odd. Get
on this fucking internet. Look this shit up. We have so much power over our circumstances that we do not realize.
Gotta care.
So much power. A trust for the last time. I can't drive it home enough. You need one. Wood believes trust are a better method than wills. I can't make it up, and I don't know who she is. She may be a fucking nobody. However, she's in this article and I'm not. I ain't nobody.
What do you know?
What do I know? Wood believes trusts are a better method than wills to build generational wealth because of the way they protect your assets. What have I been saying this whole time? Asset protection. Asset protection. That is what defines wealth. How do we keep this? How do we maintain this? Asset protection. All of this thinking about generational wealth, and we all talk about it, and I'm gonna start a hair business and all of this stupid shit with eyelashes and niggas is frying chicken or whatever the fuck it is. You don't have nothing. Those skills don't mean shit without asset protection.
What's up, Amor? Amor said hi.
What's going on, bro? Asset protection. All right? I'm gonna read that again. Wood believes trusts are a better method than wills to build generational wealth because of the way they protect your assets. For most people, a will is not enough. Listen to that again, because I did just say I think it's more important, more powerful, more flexible than any of these other legal apparatuses. For most people, a will is not enough, she said. Your trust creates a trust for the people you left behind, the beneficiaries, with instructions.
Very important.
No matter the route you choose, it's important to take a step toward creating a plan which can help create generational wealth, she said. She is defining to you guys, laying out the blueprint. And this is the shit I've been telling these kids. I don't talk to them like that, but you know what I'm saying?
Look at him up.
Yeah, I'm not hemming them up about this shit, but verbally I am. She's laying this out for you. She's defining it. This is definitive information. This should be what jumpstarts you, ignites you to say, you know what, let me go see. What what are they talking about?
Tonight.
Where is the money? Follow the money, as they used to say.
Right.
Follow the money.
Well, and that's part of it too, because listen, until I got to a financial advisor, I thought I never had money. The financial advisor helped me realize that I wasted money.
Yep.
And so once you have that clarity, then you realize you do have money, because a lot of times people don't think they got money because you're looking at your normal bank account. But when you look at all your assets, you have to understand what an asset is. An asset is something of worth, something of value. You may not think it's of value, but to someone else it is. You have to understand
Back to the trade and barter.
Yes. You have to understand that. Your name. Your name is worth something.
No matter the route you choose, it's important to take a step toward creating a plan which can help create generational wealth, she said.
How did my life end? What is that? That's odd.
Oh no, I hope they didn't kick you back to the hour.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Ah, shit. We tried. Nah, so you want me to continue or wait?
Oh no, just keep going. Keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, keep that picture.
You can't afford not to, Wood said. The economic cost is just too great to do nothing. And that was the end of it. We got Ashanti F who says, soldiers make the mistake of not removing their ex-wives and husbands as they end up getting everything, whether they remarried or not, because the Army has to honor the insurance policy. Even to that, because this happens, I supervise a lot of the young E1s, E2s, and E3s, and mentored them as well. A lot of them come in with their parents' name all over their personal business. In control of a lot of their shit. Many of them, their parents controlling even their bank account. And spending up all their shit while they, they're trying to figure out how to live in the military right now. You know what I'm saying? So be very careful with how it is that you manage your affairs. Be careful who has access. Be very mindful about all of your personal information. Your what do we used to call it? For some FBI term, personally identifiable information, PII.
I think there's more to this article, honestly.
Was there?
Yeah, I think so. No,
that was it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Just pictures.
I like pictures. We don't read these days. So.
Guy had the pictures. Rest your soul, Chadwick Boseman. I know a lot of people love that brother, man.
Even Offset. You know what I'm saying? That was the one who just passed. I don't know their names, but Offset passed. Yeah, I know that he didn't have a living will.
It's very shocking.
People fought and argued over his assets.
Yeah.
Then he have kids and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Insane.
You're watching us on Instagram and on YouTube. We have a link tree.
Yeah, we do.
You can go to the link tree and at any given time, donate to us. We got to update.
Yeah, nigga, it's still raffle tickets and shit on here. That's my bad.
Okay.
Man.
All right.
I'm gonna fix it.
Okay, he's gonna fix it. But anyway, we do have a link tree, and if you want to, at any time, you can go. We have a Cash App, we have a Venmo. You can go and donate to us and help us to keep up with what we got going on. And as far as anything that you give is going to go directly into helping us with our renovations to our spot that we miss dearly, but we'll be back in soon.
Take off. My bad.
Take off. It was take off.
Listen, man. I'm
well.
too old for
Listen, it seems like most of them that end up passing away before their time don't have a will.
Well, I would say
I was shocked with Prince, because that he didn't have.
He was serious about his finances.
Yeah. Well, at the end, Prince was a bad money person.
Jimmy Jam. You know what I'm saying?
But he had just got, and I think it might have been, there was something, but it wasn't completed because I think he was waiting to get his masters back from Warner Brothers, and then he did. He was handling it, and then as soon as he got his masters back, he got killed. So died. So
you mean he died?
Right. Yeah. My bad. Yeah, you're right. Anyway, we're gonna go on to our next topic.
Look, y'all.
We're going on to our next
Reach out to our link tree, goddammit.
Yeah. Show some love, guys.
Show some love, baby.
Show some love.
We appreciate it.
Yep, we definitely do. And this topic here, I got the picture up there.
A picture where?
You'll see.
Photo?
Yeah,
photo?
Second.
Second?
Yeah, boom. No, first one.
First one.
There you go. Okay.
Well.
Hey, Scott. Welcome back, man. Sorry about that. My link had changed. Somebody.
Later Muse says take one night off and can't speak. Listen, man. I don't know these rapping ass niggas. I'm one of those people who love music, and because I create my own music, I don't listen to what other people are doing because I don't want to get caught up in the tornado of sounding like another person.
Of course. Can you click on that so we can give it in red lines? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Click on the gray stuff. Yeah.
The gray?
Like in order to not so much make it bigger, but yeah.
Shit, is there? If I move it up, will it?
No, and then just go over to the side where the gray is at. There you go. Over. There you go. All right. So
okay, I got you.
So this topic, I think we're going to talk about again next week.
We should have got this picture to put it on here.
I think
Instagram? You got it? If you got it, send it to me.
I think I did. Yeah, let me send it to you right now.
Listen, guys, I'm trying.
No, I didn't.
I'm not hip like the
I
youngsters.
did. I didn't.
It's all good.
It's all good.
It's a meme.
Anyway,
Leave me in.
she's on Facebook, right? So they can go to Facebook. Ash Marie. There's a chick named Ash Marie Champion. Is that Twitter or is that Facebook?
That's Facebook.
Ash Marie, ASHMARIE Champion. Kind of like who she is and how she thinks.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah. Ash Marie has said that her biggest fear is finding her man online arguing with women. This is exactly what she said. It's what she wrote. My biggest fear is finding my man online arguing with women. So that's leading us into our next segment. Should men argue with women?
Let me tell you something. I was raised by a man.
Okay.
And being raised by that man, and many who agreed with his ways, many who he agreed with their ways.
Okay.
I was charged at a very young age.
Now y'all gotta understand, that word I've heard several times come from this man's mouth. That word charged is as old as kingdoms. Old kings used to say you were charged. Just like that, when they would come and say you've been, when you've been summoned.
Summoned, yeah.
You've been summoned. And the king would say you are charged. So, go ahead, brother.
I was charged by these
Men.
maybe not entirely noble men,
But they were men.
but they were the best men that they could be.
Mm-hmm.
Which means they adopted and fully embraced, fostered the reality that is manhood and masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because we have a collective public image
Okay.
as men,
Okay. Especially as black men.
especially in our community. It's important that the world sees it too, but it's more important in our community. Any man's community, from any background, race, or ethnic group. It's important that your community understands the type of man that you are, that they see the type of man that you are. Because young men in that community and young women in that community
Are following your lead.
they're following your lead.
Mm-hmm.
Took the words right out of my mouth. You have to understand the weight of that. It's very heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not easy. But as a man, that is what the fuck you do.
Mm-hmm.
That is what you do. There's no question about it. A man does not argue with a woman about anything. A man, not whatever it is that we have today. Not this shit where we can't define what a woman is, can't define what a man is.
The pronouns.
We don't know the roles of either gender.
Mm-hmm.
We don't understand what's natural to one and what's natural to the other.
Mm-hmm.
A man. We all know what a man is.
Mm-hmm. Despite what
Because we
everybody
do
else
not
does.
contend with real men.
Mm-hmm.
No one does.
Mm-hmm.
Real men respect one another.
That's right.
Even in disagreement.
That's right. You respect that disagreement, yeah.
Even in disagreement. A man does not argue with a woman.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Now, mind
no
you,
reason to.
Now, mind you, her point was online, but we're saying ever.
Ever.
It doesn't matter if it's online, doesn't matter if it's publicly, doesn't matter if it's privately, doesn't matter if it's face to face. I firmly believe, I don't argue with anybody. And I've said it many times. A lot of people who are listening, I don't.
We can have any conversation, any discussion.
That's right. But especially when it comes to a woman.
You're even knocking me off my square to see me out of order.
Yeah, out of order, emotional. Yeah.
Absolutely not. You'll never catch me off balance.
You guys have got to understand that men are capable of great destruction. Great destruction.
Which is the balance.
Yeah.
Look at what we've created.
Yeah.
And just like that, it don't take nothing. It takes absolutely nothing. Just like that, all that we've done on this planet, in this universe, can be gone.
So is a man supposed to ever be in a state emotionally where he can't make a rational decision because you want to argue with him? He wants to argue with you?
Women don't respect men that they can't argue with. I don't care what y'all say. I know this is a new world. You know what I mean? I know some of y'all is out there enlisting. I know some of y'all is out there wearing construction hats. Some of y'all is out there in the steamroller and all of this kind of stupid shit, doing powerlifting competitions and, I don't know, Danica Patricking and all of that kind of shit. That's cool. But what happens when it's actually time to war? What happens when a transgender woman crosses over into your field of play, whatever that may be, and then they contend with you? All of a sudden, now it's not fair.
Right. And the rules have to change.
The rules have to change. This can't be real. Create a separate league and all of this kind of shit. So there is no ambiguity. All of that to say that. There's no ambiguity. Men are men. Men do not argue with women. The king never argued with the queen.
That's right.
Or women in his kingdom otherwise.
Period. Even if it was the queen mother.
Nothing to argue about.
People lost their lives.
Yeah.
If they contested. Because I think we're probably going to have to look up the definition of what it is to argue.
Sure.
Because that way we get that clarity.
Sure.
Because I think people have this thing of, it's kind of like misusing the word, I'm mad. You know, I'm mad. People misuse that word, mad. You know, it has a different definition than what we've made it be. You know, you're better off saying, you know, I'm angry, I'm upset, you know. But arguing, people think that, you know, arguing.
That's funny. Let's see. The definition of argue, as defined by Google. Argue, third person present. Give reasons or cite evidence in support of an idea, action, or theory, typically with the aim of persuading others to share one's view. Persuade someone to do or not to do by giving reasons. Exchange or express diverging or opposite views, typically in a heated or angry way. Now this is the one. Okay? This is the one. Exchange or express diverging or opposite views, typically in a heated or angry way.
Yeah, because when you look at the similarities, the bottom.
Yeah, quarrel, disagree, to rove. I love that one. Squabble. Bicker is the one that I was thinking of. To fight, wrangle, dispute, feud, bandy words, crosswords, lock horns, be in each other's throats, dissent, to clash, to differ. What the fuck does a man look like clashing with a woman? To clash with a woman? Now, so at some point in history here in the United States, really in the world, men and women decided that there's no reason a man should never hit a woman, right? Man should never hit a woman. But where does that come from? Why is that a thing? The man's out of his mind if he hits her. Why would he do that? Likewise, why would he argue with her?
That's right.
To begin with. Why open that can of soup? Why introduce that into the, into any dynamic? For what reason? There's an entire argument going on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, with this meme. And so many men, even some women, because, like it or not, women do follow men's lead. Even into stupid shit like what the world is today. Because men are accepting this.
Yeah. They laid down their guard.
Arguing that it is okay for a man
to
bicker and argue and, battle with a woman. For what?
That's horrible, man.
A man's argument, at the point that it becomes time for a duel, it's to the death.
Yeah. And that hasn't changed.
No, it hasn't. A woman's existence, nothing in a woman's existence is declared to the death.
Right.
Unless she signs up for it in today's world.
Well, women tend to have an ideology
of what physicality is.
Yes, because they're very big on seeing gray.
Yeah.
And anytime I was dating, it would always be that conversation of you have to see the gray in things. And men tend to live and understand in absolutes. When you hear guys saying that, well, there is another perspective, that's more of a feminine energy.
You already know that he's not worth talking to.
Yeah, it's more of a feminine energy because nothing can get done in gray.
Nope.
Nothing can get done.
There's no way to fit everything in.
At all. And that's kind of what we're going through right now.
Yeah.
Everybody has the right to do and be who they want to be.
Think about Noah's Ark. 1 and 2.
Right.
A male version and a female version.
Yeah.
That's it.
Part of the plan.
It didn't say make sure you get a retarded one. Make sure you get one with one that's missing a leg.
Yeah.
Make sure you get one that can't climb the way it's supposed to climb. There wasn't all of these, not all cows have tails. We need to make sure we get cows that don't have tails too. And it was pretty exact, pretty straightforward.
Easy.
No question about it.
Cut and dry.
We need 2 of each.
Yeah.
One is male, one is female.
Do what you're told.
That's it. Go do it. The mission was complete. Imagine today, and whether whether you believe that any of that happened or not, I'm just saying the premise.
Principle.
The premise of it. We need a complete set of each. To where they can reproduce. That's all we need.
Clarity.
Well, sometimes a seahorse,
doesn't want to be a seahorse.
It doesn't want to be a seahorse. It's actually an octopus, so we need to make sure that we got. And some seahorses wear crowns. I've seen it in cartoons, so you know what I'm saying. And then what about seahorses that are not domesticated? We need domesticated seahorses and undomesticated seahorses. We need to make sure that everybody gets their shot. That don't make sense. What a fucking waste of time. Why would we do that? Why would we do that? Because now it's becoming a woman's world. And no offense to women, but typically, in your care, on things that concern physicality,
assertiveness, direction,
creation, in national and international affairs and such, there's a little more chaos than necessary. Because it's a lot of weight. It's a lot of weight. And this is why I sympathize with women. I don't empathize with them because they should have never tried to take our role or live up to it. But I do sympathize because I understand a woman getting up 3:30 in the morning, 1.5 hour commute to work, gotta be there 8 to 10 hours.
But you gotta get up a little earlier.
Maybe she got a lunch break. Maybe. Then she gotta get back on the road, rush hour traffic, another 1.5 hours back home. It's really gonna be like 2. She ain't ate yet. She ain't showered. She ain't tended to the household. She ain't cooked. She ain't read. She hasn't nurtured the people that she cares about. She ain't spent time with nobody.
If she's independent in mind, she's rushing to the gym. She's rushing to her class. That's keeping her right.
Yeah. She can't do any of those things. And it's heavy on her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, women complain the most.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all say what you want. I know a lot of y'all got it, or, you know, you figuring it out, whatever. But that's not meant for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's why plenty more women are dying young. Because you're taking up a role in this reality that don't have nothing to do with you. They don't have nothing to do with your existence or the way that you were designed to exist in this world.
Why do you think there are men who enjoy, because I know men who enjoy arguing with women or are willing to argue with a woman?
They didn't have fathers.
Okay.
They didn't have fathers, or if they did, the father was weak. And he allowed the woman to run roughshod in the household. Plain and simple. I don't see any in between about it. The number one thing my dad would say every morning, or on days that I don't have school, and even when I got home from school, you want to stay in the house and you want to do Disney Channel movies, and he would do this and games and all of this shit with the girls, or you come outside with me and give you some skills to pay the bills, and you make some money. I'm going outside with my dad. I don't have any. I don't feel like I missed out on whatever the girls were doing.
Right.
I had my time to stay up late with my mom while she's cooking for a holiday, and you know, I picked up on some of that, and you know, so yeah, I know how to do those things. I know how to wash my own clothes. I know how to keep house in the event that I'm by myself. Right? Simple order and discipline. I can take care of those things. But how do I get into a space to be able to maintain that lifestyle? To even be able to afford a broom to sweep, to afford to have a washer and dryer, you know, all of these different things, to make a home while I wait for a woman to come in and really exalt this thing and make it a home. I gotta know how to do something to make this possible. I wasn't gonna learn that sitting in the house with the women.
No, of course not.
There's no way.
And with that being said, a lot of men who have gone to college, they weren't trained on what to pick in order to be able to leave college and have that other stuff as well.
Nope. Shantia says, have either of you dated women that see in black and white or absolute? If so, did you get along with them?
It's rare. In my case, because I love women. Right. Like I love if you're
their absolutes are in femininity.
Yeah, like any because I had a mom who was very feminine. Right. And I was the product of a single mother, but I reached out for that mentorship from men who were men. So I understood the contrast. Right. And so as I got into the dating world, I was looking for women. I was looking for anything that had the feminine aspect. Any woman that had a masculine energy about her.
You're not looking for a woman who thinks like you.
Yeah, no, it didn't work. It didn't work. If she felt like she could beat me up, even though I'm this martial art guy, that's the problem.
If she feels like she can guide the home better.
That's the problem. Listen, let me explain something to you. I love women who are resourceful.
Absolutely.
I love it.
They can take something and amplify it.
Absolutely. And so any woman that is even listening to this that knows me, knows that I was very big on working together. Sure. Very big on that. There was never a thing of you sit down and I'll take care of everything. Nah, you
let's compliment one another.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like this whole thing of, you know, men feel like I gotta pay for everything. It's like if she's bringing in money, she needs to pay too. I'm very big on that.
That's speaking to the modern world.
Well, yeah, because the thing is that as a man, no matter how much you're gifted with, there are moments where things may not go right.
Sure.
And you don't want somebody who's looking at you not knowing what, you know, if the king was supplanted or was removed, the queen was either going to be marrying another man,
Sure,
or doing what was necessary to make sure she can get her king back on that throne. That's what they did.
Because she's networked.
She understands diplomacy.
That
that was her place. She wasn't going to put on the gear, go out there.
She was not finna enlist.
No,
you know
no. She worked behind the scenes. She kept things going, and that to me is very attractive when it comes to a woman, because I think what happens is if you're constantly arguing about what direction to go, that's what people say in the church. You're unequally yoked. You're not equally yoked. You know, and what if you know anything about a yoke is what they put around two cows or two horses or two animals, two beasts of the field. And if one wanted to go one way and the other one was going straight, they would go in a circle.
Yep.
If both were going in total different directions, they wouldn't move.
They have to be in unison.
They have to be in unison.
They're not
in
in
the same direction. They have to be in unison.
But they have to be in unison.
That unit thing is bullshit too.
They're not a unit, but they have to be in unison.
Because see, listen, this is the point that people have to understand. If a woman's mind is you have to see things in the gray, the decision sometimes will not be made. Because she's seeing it in the gray. She's seeing it that everybody can benefit. Everybody's going to be able to be well. And a man sees in black and white. He sees it absolute. He knows that, look, it's just like in war. Generals know, we're going to lose a certain amount of people. Everybody ain't coming home.
I might have to cut your leg off.
Yeah.
If you want to live.
That's it.
You may come home with no lower
That's
half.
it.
But did you get home? Do you want to get home?
Want to get home?
Me to leave you out there? I don't
sure.
know. But I did my job.
Sure. Men understood sacrifice. They understood it. You know, how many stories do you have of a woman jumping on a grenade?
Well, even think about this in men's rhetoric. Men don't complain about sacrifice.
Can't, because you understand it.
Complain about sacrifice.
Well, that's why the laws are being made the way they're being made.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, femininity was the attraction for me.
Absolutely.
Or else I'd be with a man. Because
I don't think that it exists where a woman thinks like a man and acts like a man, or where a man thinks like a woman and acts like a woman. Mm-hmm. And then there's balance. Mm-hmm. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
There is no way for that to exist. And my time in this life where I've dated, man, you know, I've dated women who were ecstatic about being a woman. Mm-hmm. They understood their power as women. And, you know, I won't say unfortunately, but just, you know, not even that those situations ended up where we grew apart, but I had to go someplace and maybe they were a bit impatient. So I said, be well. Mm-hmm. You know, you'll be great for someone. Mm-hmm. You know, but I was 100% dedicated and attracted to the femininity. Mm-hmm. My grandmother, my dad's mother, she was a homemaker. Mm-hmm. Everything that she loved being. The only thing you could say that maybe she did that was masculine is she enjoyed her 40 ounce. Mm-hmm. You know, that's just what time she was on. She enjoyed her 40 ounce beer.
That's how she relaxed.
After her house was taken care of. Some women drink wine, whatever. Mm-hmm. That maybe that would have made it seem less masculine. Mm-hmm. But she liked beer. Mm-hmm. Whatever. Her house was immaculate. Mm-hmm. When me and the cousins came over, everybody's eating at very specific times. Mm-hmm. We're all showering and bathing and getting dressed and ready for bed at a certain time. She's making sure that these things are running effortlessly.
There's a pride in that. There's a joy and a pride in that. Yeah. I mean, still, even my mom at 74,
watch everybody eat.
Yeah, making a meal. It's making you a meal is the greatest act of love for women of that era, of that age, and cleaning your clothes, even if you're 45 years old or 50. You know,
especially if you came from outside and you worked all day. The boys are outside working with the men, and she got the girls in the house, and You know, maybe she's got them reading, or she's showing them how to sew, or showing them how to, you know what I mean?
But let's because this becomes a thing of where all of a sudden now we're chauvinistic. Let me explain something to y'all. My mom had 5 sons in the project, got her diploma, and got her bachelor's to master's degree in regards to child welfare and social service. Got Harvard credits. She did that with 5 boys in the projects. Okay, so granted, that is an accommodation. That is something that she achieved, an accolade that she really, like, you know. To this day, I still have on Facebook my mom's diploma photo. You know, holding up the diploma.
I'll catch that.
She'll be the first to tell you her pride is in her macaroni and cheese.
I was about to say, I have never ever received any sort of masculine energy from his mom. She's a woman. She reminds me of my dad's mother. Oh, man, I loved her to death. I loved going over there. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm outside working with my dad, and it wasn't like she babied us or none of that. When we got done, something is already made when we come in after having been outside working on cars or whatever kind of hustle my dad had going. He's good with his hands. You know, whatever it was that we did all day that day when we come in. There you go, fellas. She stand there and watch us eat.
Yeah.
Sometimes she talked to us, sometimes she didn't. Depends on what she felt from what kind of day we had. You know,
need to be bothered.
And it wasn't like a servant kind of thing, man.
And that's the problem. That's where a lot of women in their mind today are. She
enjoyed being peaceful for us.
This is the thing. If you guys have ever seen Color Purple, it shows you the contradiction of today's woman, where when you see Celie sees the singer come into the household, right?
Oh, the broad.
Yeah. Mr. goes and he does his best to cook for her. You know what I mean? And he makes this slop, this shit. Trash. And she throws it, you know. And then Celie goes down there and whoops it. I mean, you're in the theater looking at this plate like, I want to eat that.
Yeah.
I want to eat that. That kitchen was Celie's kitchen. That way of what she did was hers. And there was a pride in that.
There was mastery.
There was a pride, there was a mastery in it, and she knew. She knew she was going, because she threw that plate out empty.
And she treated him like shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, but she warmed up to her because look at how she got into her.
Yeah.
You know, through what she was well at. There's no shame in a woman being able to do things that they're naturally inclined to do.
Zero.
There shouldn't be. But there is for a lot of women nowadays. And what happens is, and this, you know, we're not falling off the subject because the thing is we're talking about men arguing with women. That's the main thing. The problem is the reason why men argue with women is because they don't understand the gender roles. And that's kind of what we're talking about.
The amount of men, and I would say I'm not even apprentice level at working with my hands. At least in comparison to my dad. That's really I'm comparing myself to my father. I can do some shit. I'm good with woodwork.
You are. I've seen you do it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm preparing. You didn't see this desk, but this motherfucker got fucked up on the move and all of that, and I put it back together with different wood and bonding and shit. I've put all of this together in here, and you know, I'm great working with cars, and you know, my fingers will never be as big as my dad's because I didn't spend my life as a mechanic. But everything that I learned from him, it drove me to ensure that I took pride in everything that I did, and I understood the full anatomy of it. You know, other men that I meet, they think I'm doing witchcraft down there, man. Seriously. They think I'm doing witchcraft. The way that I even sweep the dojo. You know what I'm saying? The little boy's dad. Watch, man, wow. Nigga, you don't know how to sweep? What are we talking about? When me and my sensei, when we set up that second dojo in Idaho, we're watching all the, the young men and a couple of the other students and the staff even. Because we're cleaning up that room, the main dojo room. And they in there sweeping because, we didn't have a window yet. We had knocked it out. So when we closed everything up and plastered the walls and all of that, now we got dust every fucking where and shavings everywhere. So we're trying to air out the room and get the dust. So we're letting them sweep and mop and, they mop and it's, when it dries up, you got the smears and, you know what I'm saying? There's dust all over the fucking place. And what happens...
She said witchcraft.
Me,
she's laughing.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Yolanda. This is Yolanda. She's an awesome person.
Hello. Yeah. But, we get to moving this shit around. We're like, man, these motherfuckers don't know how to... Because me and him, his nickname is the janitor for multiple reasons, right? Mm-hmm. Me and him. Not even 10 minutes. And it's a big fucking room. You seen the pictures. Mm-hmm. Big ass, me and him. Not even 10 minutes. I'm sweeping. He's right behind me mopping. I'm sweeping. Knock the dust off. Knock the dust off. Mm-hmm. They come back. Goddamn, we were at this for the last however many hours. How did y'all do it?
Didn't have a routine. Couldn't get it together.
How'd you do it? Mm-hmm. It's not witchcraft, man. Goddamn, somebody taught us something. Mm-hmm. We followed men. Mm-hmm. His dad was an incredible man. Army guy. Then Air Force. Mm-hmm.
Question to our audience. Do you think that men should argue with women? That if you're in a relationship, that arguing, because we gave you the definition of what arguing is, not your thought of just a disagreement, but arguing is something that men and women should do with each other, that men should argue with women.
Yeah. Leather Muse says, I've never seen my grandma pump her own gas, and I've never seen my grandpa make his own plate. But they're Southerners, so that's what it's always been. But even to that, it's not even just about them being Southern, man. They're old school. They don't come from this generation of ambiguity and,
fix your own plate, nigga.
Niggas is all, niggas and bitches is wearing the same tennis shoes and all of this craziness. You know what I'm saying?
He's painting his nails.
Everybody, women is driving sports cars and men is in fucking Volkswagen Beetles with eyelashes and all of this crazy shit. I don't care what nobody says. I was terrified.
You mentioned this today.
Yeah, I always mention this. I was terrified in front of my father. Mm-hmm. My grandfather, my great uncles, because I didn't really have uncles. I had great uncles, my mom's uncles and shit. They were great men. Mm-hmm. I was terrified to come off weak in front of them. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to seem gay in front of them. Mm-hmm. I was scared to come off as gay in front of them. Mm-hmm. I don't care what nobody says, and I take pride in that. For this reason. I learned to earn the respect of other men. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I learned to work as hard as those other men. I earned rather, where when they gave me a task to complete, at some point they just walked away. Because they knew that I was going to do a good job.
Right, and I earned that. And the natural innate thing about a man is that we do judge according to the physical. Yeah. We see what a man, because your word means one thing, but the action has to match it. Your action has to match your word. Word and deed go hand in hand. Yeah. And you're held to that integrity. So here it is, they gave you an assignment to do, they expected it to be done. And of course, as you accomplish that assignment, the respect level increases because integrity-wise, we know you're going to do it. Yeah. And so a man arguing with a woman, like literally getting into this emotional state where you feel like first off, I've learned you can never, ever, it's very rare for a woman to admit she's wrong. Very rare. There are times when women do it, but it's very rare. But in that sense, you're thinking that you're going to emotionally charge this woman into agreeing with you. Yeah. You've already lost.
Absolutely.
You've already lost. And so There's something
you're not. You can never make a woman see the world the way that you see it.
No, of course not. You know, they're whimsical.
She may appreciate your perspective,
yeah.
but to get her to see it the way that you see it and understand it the same way, you know, and this is no disrespect to women. This has nothing to do with your intelligence, or anything of the like. I'll never see. This is the thing that I figured out when I was young. My first girlfriend, and what you kind of relates to what you say about whimsy. The way that women use the word cute, it's cute. That's reason enough for just about anything with women, and that's not a shot. That's something that I figured out, and I don't understand it, but I realized that if that is so common amongst all women, it's something that I could never identify with, something I could never understand or empathize with. Listen to a group of women talk. It's so cute. What the fuck do men do? What do we say that about?
Yeah, it's questionable if we all say that.
We might hear a good truck, a good engine.
Right.
And we all look. We probably won't even say anything.
Yeah.
But we look and we all understand and appreciate this ingenuity. We understand how the power of whatever is going on with that vehicle and all, you know, but we don't all.
Yeah.
Well, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
We're not the same.
And I think that's what would help people by understanding that there's you know, I think a lot of times, and even in the comments, so let's get to that, because the comments are what, you know, and we didn't want to blast anybody, that's why we didn't put the comments up, but the comments, to hear these guys literally fighting, saying, yeah, you know,
I'll argue with this tooth and nail.
Yeah, you know, me and my girl, we argue all the time. You know, that's a right for a man to argue with his woman if he really cares about her. It's like,
his mom told him that shit.
Yeah. Because
his mom had to tell him.
This is the thing. As a man, you can never ever be emotionally unbalanced. If you're emotionally unbalanced, and we learn this in business, because in business, you don't have that liberty to ever be emotionally unbalanced.
Nope.
You know, I didn't become a decent businessman. Decent, because I'm still, in my opinion, there's a lot I gotta learn. There's a lot I have to practice. There's a lot I have to employ.
Always learn.
But yes, but to become decent, I didn't become decent until I left home. Because there's no one to save you. There's no one to tell you it's going to be okay. You don't know if it's going to be okay.
Nope.
And that's the essence of business. Business is a gamble. Business is always a thing of, you have your knowledge. No matter how much knowledge you have, things can always go a different direction.
And you have to be confident and sure about your vision so that you can keep going regardless of what obstacles you face.
Which is another level of integrity. So that's the thing that people don't understand. So to hear these guys, I mean, it was a lot of comments.
It was insane. It's still going, actually.
Right. And so with that respect, why does that hit you to a certain space, other than what you've already mentioned about that you had men around you who taught you otherwise?
Well, it's as simple as this, man. Because I seen someone I knew. I won't name names. That's whatever. I won't even say what it grew to. But the person who posted it, his position was essentially, I will argue a bitch to death. I don't give a fuck about, we gotta argue with women. And he's saying this to other men. He's influencing other men to argue with women. I don't know the ages of these young men.
20s.
I don't know the ages of some of the older men. I don't know how many teenagers are in there. But in a forum, a group of people, I'm sure there's over like 30,000 people in there, right? Excuse me. What are you telling these men to do? Just as women follow one another, most men follow other men. We set the precedent, we set the standard, and other men will follow. Some men will improve upon whatever precedent was set. or standard that was set. But most just follow. We say, man, this is what, okay. We identify with it. And we agree with it. So, in a world where I truly understand that at the end of it all, this current world is men's fault.
Amen. Mm-hmm.
It's what we have accepted.
Mm-hmm.
In that same light, in that same vein, what we're telling each other as black men, I'm not going to watch another black man tell other black men, encourage other black men, influence other black men to argue with women. Look at the state of our community. Nigga, what the fuck are you talking about? And I will vehemently disagree. I don't care if that's in the grocery store. I don't give a fuck if that's on Facebook, any of social media. I don't care if it's in the workplace. I will not allow another man to attempt to go along with the rhetoric that redefines what a man is today. I'm not going to do it. Now, I won't say what that led to yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Because it is what it is.
How you doing, Najima?
But, you know, at some point, me and that person...
What's up, man?
We got to meet each other.
Yeah.
Because we do know each other.
Yeah.
We know each other personally.
Yeah, and I, listen, because I'm very adamant about my stance on what I know in regards to relations between a man and a woman. And I'm just period. Like, I don't argue with anybody primarily because I know who I am. And I know what I've graduated from.
Right.
So that's why it's not even for me. But I understand where it's coming from for you, because we both love our community and we understand what that can do to people. We get that because a lot of those people did back up what he was saying and did agree, and it's just like, yo, what's really
an overwhelming amount?
What's going on? Arguing with a woman, bro?
And I'm not going to argue with another man that is
well, absolutely. And so the thing becomes this. It becomes because, you know, women felt like it turned to this thing of equality. Well, the reason someone has said, and I say this verbatim, when a man says he won't argue with a woman, he's saying it because he feels like she is not on his level.
Yeah.
That is the dumbest shit that I ever heard in my life.
It's stupid.
You're thinking that the reason why I won't argue with you is because I don't feel like you are on my level? That's the dumbest shit that I ever heard. No, I don't want to argue with you because, first off, I don't like being emotionally unbalanced, number one. And when you are a person that is opinionated, because I'm an opinionated motherfucker, I don't need you to give me a reason on why you think I'm wrong. I don't need you to do that. That's not your place. And you've heard me say that to people. It's not my place to tell this person that. If they want to learn something new, we can sit down and discuss it.
We have a discussion.
Sure. But it's not my place to sit there and tell somebody that feels vehemently about something that they believe in.
And get into a shouting match.
You're not even listening to me at that point.
Absolutely.
So for women to say that, that's another bad thing because now you're making a man feel like he has to defend himself in regards to who you are as an individual. And that's not fair.
That makes no sense.
It makes no sense whatsoever. At all. And so, yeah, we're definitely going to be talking about this again because this is something that I think people don't realize is very, very detrimental to the community.
Well, the closing point that I have is this. Right where I started the conversation, being charged by men that I would consider to be good men. Mm-hmm. They took care of their business. The people around them could eat and sleep safely every night. Mm-hmm. That's paramount. That's as simple as a man's work on a job well done at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. The people that he loved could eat and and sleep peacefully that night.
Mm-hmm.
Men, you must hold one another accountable.
Mm-hmm.
You must correct one another.
Mm-hmm.
You must, especially in the black community, take these young men to the side.
Yep. Yep.
Show them the love.
Yep.
Because that is love.
Sometimes they just ain't never been told it. Real quick, this story happened at a gas station. I was with my brother and my mother, and there was a young black guy. The girl that worked at the gas station was, kind of thick white chick, but they had a baby together or whatever, and she was mad at him, giving him the drama that was triggering him. And I saw it. And I took it upon myself to take him over to the side, and I said, hey, man, look, man, they just called the cops. I know they did. You don't need to be here when they get here. I know you angry. You know what I'm saying? You ain't put your hands on her, but that's what she wants.
Mm-hmm.
And your life will change from this. Something in him clicked. I don't know what it was, because I wasn't when I spoke with him.
You don't know. He don't know you. You don't know him from anything else.
He said, you know what? You're right. He got in his car and drove up. She looked at me with eyes of
yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's really what it was.
You messed up my whole plan. The problem that I had afterwards was my brother saying, man, you got to be careful. You can't get involved in people's stuff like this. And I'm like, that's where you and I are different. I said,
because it is our place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's our job.
Mm-hmm.
It is our position as black men to help guide other black men back onto the path.
Original Price said, y'all both made some real valid points. I think it comes down to us holding ourselves accountable.
Not ourselves, one another.
Mm-hmm. Each other.
One another.
Mm-hmm.
We must.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't, our community will never repair.
No.
Our community is in shambles right now.
And stuff like this just makes it worse.
It's in shambles. I see it every single day. I'm not just watching the news and seeing what's going on social media and all of that shit. I'm out doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
And I can affirmatively attest to the fact our community is in shambles. Mm-hmm. These children are in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't give a fuck what type of disorder is going on with the women.
Mm-hmm.
The men have to come together
and
set the precedent and say, this is what we're doing. This is how we're going to change it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is how we're going to fix our situation. And when a man does that, women will follow.
Mm-hmm.
I've never, ever had a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Men and women will have a bit of a disagreement.
Mm-hmm.
That's
part of the process.
It is what it is. It's a part of it. But to argue and receive hate and vitriol and all of these different things from a woman, I've never had to experience that, and I'm not going to.
Mm-hmm.
There will be some, even dysfunction a bit, because we're dealing with a lot. But isn't that what men are designed to do?
Mm-hmm. They've been dealing with a lot, but still dealing with a lot.
To deal with a lot.
What's going on, Marcus?
To take on the heavy load.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're designed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't understand that, you don't accept that, you weren't charged correctly.
Yeah.
You weren't trained correctly. You weren't prepared correctly.
Mm-hmm. Which is true. It's a lot of young men who weren't. Last couple of statements.
Oh, shit. That was later me. I already read that. Shanti F says, I don't argue with my mom, dad, or siblings. I'm not arguing with anyone.
Good for you.
If we can't sit and have a discussion, there's nothing to discuss.
Damn right.
She says she loves this topic.
Good for you, Shanti. Absolutely. Bravo. Pass that word around. Yo, Marcus. Yeah, no doubt. Guys. If you've missed our show and you caught us late, we always post all of our stuff on Instagram and on YouTube. If you go to our YouTube, CMCT_show, you will see tonight's show up there. And if you didn't get to see it here on Instagram, we will be posting it after the show is over tonight. Tonight's show basically was about, for you guys out there who don't have a living will, get it together. All my active friends and entertainment friends, you got to make that happen. Who's your residuals going to? Some of you got kids out there. You got to make sure all that stuff is listed in regards to your assets. And you should have a living trust. You should have a living will. You should have a will. You should have a lot of different things in regards to what's going to happen once you leave this earth. At the minimum, burial insurance. And also, you men out there who arguing with these women. Honestly, I've seen it, man. I've seen these guys in cars, and I seen them down at the grocery store. I watch a lot of World Star, and it's just sad to see, man, some of these cats out there acting like women. You know what I mean? Going in stores and restaurants and damaging stuff and doing stupid stuff and arguing with women. Don't do it. Stop it.
It's embarrassing.
Hold your friend, charge him.
It is further damaging.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our community.
Absolutely.
We have to fix it.
Yeah.
We, yes, all of us, black people, men, women, and children, but we as black men,
it starts with
we
us.
have to start it. Regardless of all the disarray and dysfunction, the different things that have disenfranchised us, we have to be the foundation that changes it. No one else can do it. So, I'm charging every single one of y'all, black men, not niggas, all of you black men, listening, with being a man, which means you don't get to complain about sacrifice. You don't get to complain about the heavy load. Just do it. Just do it. Nobody else is going to do it for us. So, y'all have a good night.
Have a great weekend, too.
Man, keyboard don't work all of a sudden. I can't never get no love.
Muscles on this lonely pack. I stay calm and fact. I've been on the grind so long, never call me that. Please keep it short. I don't speak for all the rap. I'm your mechanic. I don't want no parts of whack. Keep throwing darts and wax. I'll melt you. Every beat got a birthday. I just make it special. If you came to wrestle, maybe we can do that. Champion, bring the doses and show you where your shoes at. Exactly where your proof at. I ain't got to prove stats. I don't know what to before. I've been staying blue black. Straight from where the news at.
Oh, that's like
Lifestyle show that story I survived. Made them live remote stand. Take me what I broke now. I imagine it. I'm not
top.
Every stroke's passionate. And some
learn how to bounce lights and shit up.
I'm just practicing so I can get it in when it's out. Ain't no accidents for real.
Still too much? So what, drop it?
Please stop the BS. For real is on purpose.
What? Alright, I'm learning.
I don't think it was there before.
No, it's because I'm right real.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, because it wasn't.
Please stop the BS. For real is on purpose. For real.
Then I can bring it back.
I do this for real.
Oh shit!
I do this for real. Please stop the BS. For real is on purpose.
Man, what is going on with my thing? How did they get that, man? Yeah, man.
I
don't know why they would.
I ain't a pill tamper with the seal bar smothering niggas. Composition war ready. I'm just plundering niggas. Muscles on this lonely